We're really excited to have Dave Black here to present. Do stick around to the end because I will be raffling off one of our SanDisk SSD drives. This is our 1 terabyte Extreme Pro portable SSD. This guy gets up to 2,000 megabytes read-write speeds. It's 1 terabyte. Actually goes up to 4 terabytes of capacity now, but I'm raffling off a 1 terabyte unit. And it's a USB-C connection, and this is great for an editing scratch disk because it's got an aluminum core to help dissipate the heat. 3-meter drop protection on that as well. So it's a great portable SSD drive for you guys. So stick around to the end. We'll be picking one of you guys at random. And as Rui said, if you have questions, put them into the chat. I'll be monitoring the chat. I'll be asking your questions to Dave because we got to keep you guys all on mute for this event, because now it looks like there's almost 200 of you guys in the audience here. And I did see somebody say that they are from New York City. I am also in New York City at the moment as well. So nice that somebody is nearby. And somebody else said they were in Hawaii. So I need to know, you can message me in the chat. Do you need a house guest? Because I am available. So do let me know. We also have Paul Van Allen here from Nikon. He can answer your questions as well regarding Nikon gear and anything else that Dave talks about as well. So if you've got Nikon questions, Paul will answer them in the chat. If you've got SanDisk G-Tech questions, I'll answer them in the chat. And if you have questions for Dave, we'll ask them to him and to his assistants. So with that said, Paul, I don't know if you had anything you wanted to add or say before I hand it off to Dave.
No, I'm good. I'm just happy to be here. Hi, Dave.
All right. So without further ado, then, Dave, take it away. Go ahead.
Are we live now?
Yes.
Are we live now? All righty. Wow. The last 2 days, we have done a lot to put this all together. And I'm so glad so many of you are showing up here. My name is Dave Black. I am going to be teaching a class on light painting and how to do light painting so that you can do them yourself at your own home or your studio or wherever you are doing your photography. And many thanks to Samy's out there, Samy's Cameras. Been there several times, and glad to be live streaming here with Samy's. And SanDisk, Pete, great to have you. And Paul from Nikon, great to have you as well. Thank you so much for both SanDisk and Nikon to sort of bring me in on this whole thing here. Well, we're going to be learning light painting. And light painting is, I think, the most artistic form of lighting in photography. Now, most of us have a flash, speed light, a strobe, you know, a pro photo strobe or something like that, Elenchron maybe. But light painting is probably the slowest form of light rather than a fast flash of light. And we're going to be doing what I call sort of tabletop setups. We're going to try and do 3 of them. We're going to try and fit 3 of them into the class tonight. And we have 2 different camera angles here. I want to introduce some people to you. First, I want to introduce my daughter, Haley. You've probably seen her on our AMA Monday show that we do, the Ask Us Anything, Ask Me Anything. It's the first Monday of each month on my Instagram. And so Haley is over there in the kind of control booth off to the side, working what's called the, what is it called there, Julio?
The control center.
The control center, the whole control center. She's controlling the world over there right now is what's happening, which is great, right? She's very organized. So we've got one camera that will show kind of close-up details of what I'm doing when I'm doing the light painting. Our main camera is being run by Julio Aguilar, my assistant for the last number of years. Julio, say hi.
Hey-o.
Haley, say hi.
Hey.
Okay. So we're all here. This should be very, very interesting.
What camera learning?
We are using, yeah, that's a great one. I am using on my setup here, Nikon's Z7 II mirrorless camera. That's what I've been using. I actually have 2 of them. I like them that much. And so I've got another one over on this side that has a longer lens to kind of zoom in here. And then our main camera is Haley's camera, which is actually the Z50. mirrorless. So that's kind of what's going on here. The equipment we're going to be using, because we'll be doing long exposure work. Light painting is done in a dark environment. That's why we're down in actually, it's my basement studio. So don't feel like you have to run out and rent a studio for, $300 to go do some light paintings. Nope, you just need a small enough, large enough area to put all your camera and a tripod and whatever you're going to light paint. And you can kind of make the investment. Go down to Cloth World and get some black cloth that you can just sort of hang up in front, put up as a background or in front of the windows, block off the windows, pull the shades, whatever it might be. But you'll need a dark room. You want to try and achieve an exposure, a manual exposure. Manual exposure, Dave, really? Yeah, light paintings are done with manual exposures, but don't let that scare you. Program modes aren't going to help you on this, because the light itself is moving around on the subject while you're, during the 30 seconds. And so you really need a manual exposure. It just really doesn't work any other way. So keep that in mind, manual exposures. And I'm going to give you a baseline exposure setting that I start at. Now, that doesn't mean I'll stay there necessarily, but I'll give you a baseline exposure. It is ISO 500, 30 seconds exposure time, 30-second exposure at f8. And my white balance is a very warm white balance. I'm going to use the Kelvin scale on my cameras. The white balance will be 10,000 Kelvin. And the reason for that is the small LED light that we're going to use, that's how we'll be doing illuminating and adding the light painting to the subject. It's a white LED. We'll use some other colored ones later, but predominantly the white is the main light. And it is sort of a cool white. So I use a 10,000 Kelvin to warm it up so it has more of a little bit more like a golden hour feel to it. So that's your white balance setting. I just want to make a light painting. That's the great thing about this. I just like making these things. I'll let you know that no two light paintings ever end up the same. There's always a little bit of differences. So we're going to be making these sort of light paintings, and we'll go back. We'll see it. The picture will come up on the back of the camera. That way you'll see it at home, and it'll have like the settings written right there, from the camera. We should just get going and make one here. So thank you again for coming. Here we go. Please put your CF Express SanDisk card in your camera first. That's definitely a must.
Well, very good suggestion there, Dave. Very good.
Card in the camera. Turn on the camera. Now, I'm going to use the 24 to 70 millimeter Z lens. It's an S series lens, but everyone seems to refer to it as a Z lens. So I've got that on my Z7 II. I use back button autofocus. That is more convenient to do light painting, just because if I do back button autofocus, focus here, get a little bit of light on there. Hold on. There we go. Back button autofocus. When I take my thumb off the button, now it's locked in place. That's very important, because once we turn the light off here and it's dark in here, you don't want to have your lens searching in the dark trying to figure out, what do I focus on? So you need to make sure that when your thumb comes off, then you're locked in place. That way, while you're applying the light to the subject, you don't have to worry about having it go in and out of focus. Are we focused? We are. We are focused. We've already composed our scene. I'm at 70 millimeters right now. You can see how far we are. We're about like a foot and a couple of inches, maybe 14 inches away or so. And I live out west. I live in Colorado, so I brought out my an old saddle that I bought in a junk shop, and a lariat that I have, and a spur and so forth. These are things that I can find those pretty common here, but go down to your local antique store and junk shop or whatever it is, and you find different objects. My whole basement down here, my basement studio, is full of all kinds of things that I have light painted. The saddle was $25. The rope was about the same, about $20, and the spur, same kind of thing. In other words, I get these nice kind of fun little objects to photograph and light paint with. And it is really a lot of fun. Great to do any time of day. It's raining outside in the summertime. You go, man, I want to come in here. The COVID virus. How do I do photography during the COVID virus? Light painting. I made a lot of light paintings over the last year. Could do them myself, could do them by myself. Don't have to worry about, anyone else being in the room like a model or something like that. All righty, set up the camera. Manual exposure, as I mentioned. I'm now at 30 seconds. ISO 530 seconds at f8. The first thing I'm going to do, we're going to turn out the light. And the first thing I want you to do is make what I call just a blank shot, a blank picture. When the lights go down in your room at home, whether it's your garage or your basement or your living room or your kitchen, wherever it might be, that you can make the room dark. Let's turn out the light. And I will actually set my camera on a self timer, and I'll set it on a self timer of 5 seconds. 5 seconds. And that'll give me 5 seconds once I press the shutter button to move off camera and apply the light from an off camera position. You don't want to stand right next to the camera and apply the light because that's very flat light. It's very direct. So I just set it up for 5 seconds. That gives me time to think about what I want to do, where I want to place the light, and maybe even how long I want the light to be there. First thing I'm going to do, there's my 5 second exposure. I'm not going to light paint at all. I'm just going to let the camera run for that 30 seconds because I need to find out if there's any light sneaking in from a window or under the crack from the door, or maybe there's another room. Right now we have the computer on and there's light coming from the computer. I can see my camera, I can see the tripod, I can see the setup because of that light coming off the computer. But we did some tests. It should not contaminate or light contaminate any of the subject here.
Dave, do you always wear dark clothing?
Do I always wear dark clothing? Well, you don't have to ninja out. Aha, look at that. You see just a little bit of red there on the screen. See that? That's that concho that's right there. And the light coming from over where Haley is, that is actually a little bit of illumination there. That's okay. If you see just a little bit, there's no problem with that. That makes sense? Everything else is pretty dark, so I think we're ready to actually light paint. We'll add a little bit of light this time. Do I wear dark clothing? I do, just in case I get a little bit of light on me or there's light coming in from Haley. In other words, if I have a white t-shirt on, you may actually see it kind of ghost around as I'm standing here applying the light. So I have gray pants, I have a dark shirt on, it's usually a little bit helpful, not necessarily a requirement though.
Can you tell us what lights you're using as well?
Yeah, we are going to get to that right now. Bing. There's my little LED light. This is called a stylus pen light. The company that makes them is called Streamlight. That's one word, Streamlight. If you go onto my website, go to Dave's Gear. My website is just www.daveblackphotography.com. Go to Dave's Gear and just scroll. All the gear I use is listed there. All the cameras, all the lenses, all the light painting gear, all the flash, all the speed lights, etc. All that is listed there. And you'll get down to the pen light by Streamlight. And you can actually got a link there and it'll take you into the Streamlight website. And you can find out where you can actually probably order one of these. It'll ask for your zip code and then it'll tell you that whatever store is closest to you to get them at. So good there. So I use the stylus Streamlights, the single LED. That's about maybe 75 lumens. Pretty dim by most lighting standards. And it also comes with a nice little snoot right there that fits over the top of it. Because I don't want to see the LED light moving around in the picture while I'm illuminating my subject. It'll look like I'm writing. It'll look like I'm kind of writing around. On goes my snoot. That way, as I apply the light to my subject, the rope, the concho, that's called a concho right there. This is part of the spurs called the rowel, right? Saddle, there's the saddle horn, right there. Anyway, all those things you want just the light to hit it, but you don't want to see the light. So here's my single LED. What's my white balance? You in the back row. No, okay. The white balance is actually 10,000 Kelvin. That's the warmest setting, and that'll help turn this cool LED to a little bit warmer light. All right, let's see what we got here. Let's see. Am I actually on my 5-second timer still? I'm still on my 5-second timer. We're in focus. All right. We're going to add a little light this time. Click, the shutter's open. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That didn't look very complicated, did it? That was 8 seconds, all like concentrated right on my little subject there. I don't care about the back part of the saddle or the stirrups that are down below here. I'm only trying to look at that spur and a little bit of the rope and sort of the saddle horn there. Now, 30 seconds is going to go by, and it'll seem like an eternity when you're waiting for the picture to come up. And there it is, completely awful, blasted out. Oh my goodness, something's wrong. Well, I make this on purpose, even though I know how to do my light paintings. I make this one on purpose just to show you here's overexposed area, right? We've got some overexposure there. Obviously, I don't need 8 whole seconds all concentrated on this one area. Why do I need 30 seconds in the first place then, Dave? Because we're going to add colored lights. We're going to be walking around, bringing light in from other angles. So you need that extra time. That's why I have that baseline exposure. ISO 500, 30 seconds, f8. That's where I start everything. Well, let's make another one. We obviously have way too much light appearing here. Do I adjust my ISO? No. Do I change my aperture setting? No. My f8 is nice because it has a nice sort of focus right on the basic parts right here, but we eventually will get to a background that we're going to illuminate. So I want that to be a little bit softer. So f8 looking pretty good here. I know it'll get softer back there. All I want to do is I'm going to control the exposure with the amount of time I light things up and the distance I am with the light from the subject. That's how I control the exposure. How do you learn it? Trial and error. It's simple as that, just trial and error. You're going to make a lot of these. When I first started, I was making 20 or 30 of them before I went, that one looks great. So don't be discouraged of like, oh, I've done 10 of these and it's just, I look at it and it's like still awful. Just keep trying, keep correcting, keep looking on the back of the camera and keep making, you have to do your own critique. All right, it's too bright. Well, let's try another one. Let's turn out the light here. Light goes down. There's my 5-second timer. I step off camera. So I don't need all that time. Light, let's see here. How about 1 second there, 1 second on the rope, maybe a little on the spur, and maybe a little on the spur there. Well, now let's wait it out and let's see what it looked like this time. Each time I do this step by step, I'll go back and look at the picture. Even if I'm doing something where the camera is much farther away from the subject, I'll just go over to the camera and I'll take a look. Now, a lot of people say, well, why don't you just have it come up on your phone? You know, they got apps for that. Or why don't you just have it on your laptop right there by you? And so you can do that if you want. Go right ahead. That's a great thing to do. I'm not that technical. I just like to go back and look at it on the back of the camera. Well, it definitely looks better. That's a big improvement over the first one we had. Let's see if we got that there. There's our first one. Here's our second one. Well, let's try something else. Look at how this one back here, look at how the rowel has a little bit of, let's zoom in on it. The rowel has a little bit of backlight on it, or top light almost. That's kind of cool. And I like that better than if it is blasted. That's like direct light. All right, well, maybe we'll use that instead. Let's make another one. Here comes number 3. 5-second self timer. How about a second up there and a little burst there on our little concho, and then maybe a quick one right down the lariat. Then I'm going to step about maybe 3 feet away and I'm going to kind of come on an angle right at the rowel for a couple of 3-4 seconds. And then let's wait it out again. So it's kind of like a light puzzle. Little by little, I'm going to kind of build this up. Now the question may come up, wow, what if you just went into Photoshop and took the best picture of the rowel and another best picture of the saddle, and you could do that if you want. You could do that if you want. I prefer to try and make it in one raw file. The reason? Because I'm a photographer. I'm no good at Photoshop. I'm no good at Photoshop. I like to make pictures and I like to be a photographer. Well, now this is really looking even more interesting. I'm getting this I like the rowel. Look at the rowel. That is cool looking. The concho's got a little bit of highlight flashing, not too bad. But our left side of our screen there, the left side looks kind of empty. So I think I'll walk around behind and I'll actually bring a little bit of light right on the sort of the back side from this angle back here and see if we can see just a little bit more of the spur strap and the rope, the lariat there. All right, let's go again. Self timer. The things I like, I'll just repeat and I'll actually count out loud. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Turn the light off, walk right through the picture, no problem. Get way over here, I'm about 4 feet away, and just throw a little bit on the back side of the lariat and maybe a little on the saddle horn, right like that. That ought to do it. And we still have time left, I think. Do we? We do have time left. Ooh, that means I can do more magic. Yeah. Talk to me. Show me the money. Bing. There we go. All right. Ooh, I got a little feisty, a little too much light on a couple of areas, but I like lighting up the left side of the frame now. I like seeing the strap and I like seeing a little bit more of the rope. All right, we are on our way. That was what, number 4? Number 4. Okay, now let's do this. I still think this light, this first light that I've got right here, I think it's just broadcasting, spreading too much light around. So somehow I want to stop that. So I'm going to pull this one out. It's the same light, exactly the same LED. It does have the snoot on it, right? So I no longer see it. But I've just taken 2 pieces of cardboard. I don't know if we can get our other camera looking right there. We got 2 pieces of cardboard, and it's going to sandwich the pen light right inside the cardboard. I'm going to make my own light modifier. The 2 pieces of cardboard, I've kind of wrapped it with gaffer's tape, black electrician's tape. You could use that as well, but it's black, right? And then there's a little sort of slit that it kind of creates because it's right between the 2 pieces of sandwiched cardboard. And now that'll make more of a shaft of light. One thing about light painting, it seems like a good rule of thumb is if you want a picture to look interesting, only light part of it. I don't have to illuminate everything. The whole darn thing gets lit up. It's not that interesting. But if you just be more sparing with that, little shaft of light here, little shaft of light there, little shaft of light there, you'll find it probably looks much more interesting and unique. All righty. I review the picture. I know what I'm going to do this time. Do I need this guy anymore? I don't know. Maybe not. I'm going to set it over on my table. Get out of here. Shaft of light. And here we go. Down goes the light. Here's my shaft of light right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Get the rowel lit up from behind. Turn it off. Walk through the picture. Maybe a little on the back. A little on the back. A little on the pommel horn there. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 seconds. I have about 10 seconds left over. Now we're getting somewhere. Now we're getting somewhere. That's our 5th one. That's our 5th one. This is looking very cool. I'm definitely liking this. Still got that little highlight thing there. All right, let's add something else. That light puzzle, something else. Well, here is another one. This one's all taped up, but it is the same pen light, has the snoot on it, and I've actually placed a full CTO gel. I just cut one up, put it inside the snoot. So now it's going to give me, and I think I'll go over to this camera here, right there. See how warm that is now? There's warm light, and it's just a little spot of light. It's a little tiny spotlight, and I'm going to do spotlight. Let's turn the main light down there a little bit so they can see. There you go. See how warm that is? So now I can actually really paint more precisely these things rather than broadcasting all that. So I think if I do a little bit broadcast from the top and then come in with my kind of golden light and do like that, step over here. What did I do? About 3-4 seconds here, turn it off, walk around, and now I'll add maybe warm light up here. Look how much closer I am. And like that. So hopefully you can kind of see that. Now I'll do it with the lights completely out so that I get an actual light painting. Just making sense to anybody? Anybody back? Oh, hey, hey. Okay, just kidding. All right, here we go. Self timer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I keep the pen light moving, right? Keep it moving. Light up the rowel. And I actually think I hit the concho with the white light, which I didn't want to do, but I did it. Bad me. That's bad on me. A little more warmth. Now, when I put that gel over the LED light, it's going to cut down on how much illumination is coming out. But I love the color. That. Ooh, I wish I had that white light, that shaft of light hit the concho just a little bit, and it just illuminated that thing right up. All right. All right. But we're on to something. Look at how much nicer this looks. Look at that warm tone versus that, versus that, versus that. These are kind of, they're interesting. There's, not that much wrong with them, but that really changes everything. That warm light, people are drawn into warm light. Well, we're going to do something now. We do have a background. Did the main camera actually see this? Yep. So right there, we have our background. It's an old saddle blanket, okay? A Navajo saddle blanket here. And I've got a little bit larger flashlight right here. It is also made by Streamlight. It's called a ProTac 2AA. That means it takes 2 AA batteries in here. And I had to make my own snoot kind of out of gaffer tape so that it, obviously, if I tried to do something with it, it wouldn't be seen by the camera over here because I don't want to get a big flare, coming into the camera. But it's much more intense. It's about 150 lumens, and it's much brighter, and I should be able to light up, some of the background. Let's see how that works. But I think to find out how much light, I'm going to make a silhouette. I won't add any light here, no light painting here, but I'm just going to do the background. So you guessed it, it'll seem like an eternity to wait out that 30 seconds, but let's turn out the light and we'll do it anyway. You're all in the comfort of your home. I'm the one running around for 30 seconds here. So just sit back, relax, wait it out. 5-second self timer. So there's no light painting on this time. All I want to see is what does it look like if I put light back here? And it also has that full CTO gel. And there it is. See how warm it is? I don't know if I need any more than that. Maybe a little bit. Okay. One more. Okay. All right. Okay. I can't stop. I can't help myself. You got to sometimes less is more, right? Less is more. So we wait out the 30 seconds. I probably hit it too many times, but I was making it. Ooh, maybe not. That was just about right. So there's my silhouette. Nice. Nice. All we got to do now is fill in the silhouette with light painting. That makes sense? I hope so. Makes sense to me, but I've been doing it for like 22 years. So, all right, here we go. Now that we have this is the basic foundation of light painting. That's why I'm spending so much time on one thing. We will move faster as we go on to the other two subjects. But if you've got to kind of understand this, then I can pep it up. Okay, here we go. Lights go down. Here's our that. don't hit the concha with the white light. And 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Backlight the rowl a little bit there. I'm gonna really get it. Turn off the light, walk on through. Here comes a little warm light from behind the saddle. Cool. Walk over here. 1, 2, 3. Bingo. Sweet. Nice. I like it. 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 Let's make sure it's sharp. Should have been making, oh yeah. I am telling you, the Z7 II. I know there are a lot of good cameras out there. I know there are a lot of good cameras. I've been using Nikon my entire career, so 42 years now. And I mean, nobody makes a more beautiful, detailed file. And I love the Z7 IIs. I love the Z7, but now that I got the 2s, I like those. And I just did the autofocus update. If you've got a Z7 II or Z6 II, and I think it's for the Z7 and Z6 as well, they have updates. You can update the AF. Really jumps up there and improves. Look at that little bit of backlight right on that part of the strap, and then the brass that's holding it in place. That is cool. Okay, I'm going to make one more of this because I can't help myself. Okay, I'm going to make one more. I'm actually going to add a little bit of blue light somewhere. I think kind of into the back area there, and just see what happens. All in 30 seconds. That might be a tough one, but I'm going to see what I can do. All righty. Same little pen light. Here it is, except now it's blue, right? There it is, blue. And it's a blue LED now, but it's the same thing. I put blue tape on it so I can tell. Oh yeah, that's the blue one. All right. I got a bunch of stuff I'm going to use now, so let's turn out the lights. And you can probably tell that I got the blue pen light in my mouth. Okay, here we go. All right, ready, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. It's going to be close. 17, 18, 19. Little blue. 20. Get on to the other side. Hurry, Dave. Time left? Man, I was screaming along there, wasn't I? Bingo, I had seconds left. Ooh, I like the blue. I like that little added blue. Watch the difference. Very pretty. Very Western too, I might add. Very Western with that golden look. But look at the blue. They're just little blue highlights. That's very interesting. The row looks nice. The background looks cool. I like that background. This is a keeper. It's a class for you, but it's going in my portfolio. All righty. How long did that take? Does anyone know? Probably too long, you're thinking. But that is the whole fundamentals, the whole foundation. What I just gave you is sort of like, the batting cage kind of thing. All righty. 31 minutes. That was a lot. Okay. But we had introductions and things like that. Okay. We need to move on to the next one now. So here comes the scramble. We're going to leave the picture on the screen. We move on to, nature. So this is, you're probably thinking, Dave, I don't do Western saddles and stuff. No problem. Julio, remove the Western saddle, and I will bring in the next subject, which is nature. We're going to do nature here. Are there any questions I should be answering?
Well, there was one back that was, if you don't have a Kelvin setting on your camera, what can you do instead that's like the closest?
Shade is a typical, that is also a very warm setting, although I would say most cameras do have Kelvin setting. Just look at your manual. Look at your manual and see if you can find You can find it in your manual because most cameras have it. Let's see here.
What about the black backdrop? Where'd you get all your black cloth?
Cloth World. Cloth World. That, yeah, it's you know, I mean, you can get you know, beautiful things from Westcott and so forth, makes, you know, backdrops and all that. But I think you know, and I have nice backdrops, beautiful velvet things and so forth for other projects. But all I'm trying to do is just blacken out the room and the background a little bit. And it's very inexpensive, very affordable. Very affordable. Let's go over there. All right.
Could you also use a remote to release your camera?
You could.
5-second timer.
You could. I think it's not necessary, I think, unless you're really far away, right? If I'm very far away and I'm doing outdoor light paintings, I do them with larger flood lamp spotlights, different landscapes, that sort of thing. Yeah, I might use a Pocket Wizard trigger, and I actually usually trigger the self timer. I still have it on self timer, and I'll trigger that self timer and get that kind of, you know, get the self timer going, and then put the Pocket Wizard into my pocket or pouch or whatever, and then start applying the light. And I can get way off camera. I'm only off camera like 18 inches, but essentially it's what is that, 90 degrees? It's 90 degrees to the subject. And then I walked around to this side and it was 90 degrees to the subject. If I have the light straight above, that is 90 degrees. That's an angle, 90 degrees up to the subject. The thing I try to avoid is being right next to the camera and light painting. In fact, I just don't do it.
Give us 1 second.
Maybe I should make one just to prove that something. All right, do I want this? No, get rid of the blue. I've got that. Let's see, what's my next move here? Sorry to turn my back to you, but we've got all this stuff going on.
One camera.
Got this, and that's it, I think. That's it. All right. There we go. All right, we have our next subject here. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that first one. The dandelion. Now, this is like a dandelion on steroids. I'm not exactly sure how it got this big, but they were in the field across from my house. And so I grabbed it, picked it up, and I've got it taped to a roll of tape just to hold it still. It's a weed, you know, kind of. It's a, you know, and so I've got little boxes and things that I put stuff on. So we've got that there. Let's dim the light a little bit there, Julio. And let's see what we've got going. Here it is, right? So we have this. Ooh, let's bring it. There you go. Can you see what's going on? And I'm going to do one. I'm going to go back to the beginning. Here's my LED light. Here's the snoot that goes on here. Here's a spotlight. Let's just see what happens. Let's see what happens. I'm at ISO 500, 30 seconds. F8. No, this thing's kind of got all this detail in there. How about F22? Oh, I better focus on it. I almost forgot there. I get carried away trying to do this.
Dave, what kind of nuclear
Little
test
green
site
box.
is near where
I'm
you
on
live
single.
that's producing that
Single
size of a
point.
dandelion?
Little box.
That's
there.
crazy.
I have back button autofocus.
Pete had a question for you, Dad.
Oh, who's got a question?
What kind of nuclear test site is across the street that produced that kind of dandelion?
What's that?
What kind of nuclear test site is across the street?
I don't know, but I've never seen them like this. I'm not exactly sure. Maybe they're more of a sunflowery thing. I don't know. I'm sorry,
crazy.
the question came from over there. My people. We're just getting used to this. This is the first go around, I'll tell you. But I think we're doing pretty good. Do you guys agree? I hope you're enjoying this. Yeah, I don't know, but it's big, which is great. Maybe it's a sunflower. I don't know, but it looks like a dandelion. It's just giant. Well, I've got my regular pen light, just like I had to start with, right? Just like I had to start with. And I'm going to repeat the process, except now I want more depth of field. I'm at F22. Let's see what happens here. Hey, we're still on our 5 seconds. 90 degrees. Bingo. Oh. Bingo. Oh, I made a mistake. So sorry about that. All right. Because of the ambient light that we look at that. Well, we did get a picture. We did actually get a picture. Let's see here. We need to lower it down. Now let's see where our, I didn't even compose the scene. I was too anxious. It's in focus. It's centered. Let's bring it down just a little bit. With this extra ring light, we have a ring light that's on just so we can kind of rheostat it up. I'm actually at a 3-second exposure right now, just so you can see and I can focus. If I go down to the 30 seconds, it's all blown out. In other words, if I try to autofocus now, it's just a big white ball of nothing. So it doesn't autofocus. So basically I just manual exposure. I just rotate. Instead of 30 seconds, I'm at like 3 seconds. Now I can see some detail, so I can autofocus, which I did. Go down to my 30 seconds. Okay, now we got it. So sorry about that. Here we go. Trying to be creatively artistic and teach it at the same time. All right, here we go. Lights go down. There's our 5 seconds. I'm ready. Lights directly above. Here's my angle of light. 1, 2, 3 and a half. Wait out the 30 seconds. I know people, when I taught workshops like this, and everyone starts painting everything right away because they want it so badly. They want to see the results of everything. They got colors going everywhere. And then they struggle to make one good picture because they're trying to throw everything at it the very first time. Start with just single light, no colors, just the light was up above, 30 seconds is up, and there is the dandelion. Looks like I needed a little more light over on one side, and looks like I should probably try and get some light from underneath to make it one round spherical object. Let's just make sure it's in focus. Oh yeah, we got, oh, sweet. Lots of detail, lots of detail, lots of detail. All right, here, let's go again. We got to get going. So I think I'll kind of maybe wrap a little light around it and then also put a little underneath. 5 seconds. Wrap a little light around the sides. Come around here, get a little from underneath. That ought to do it. And there should be a bunch of time left. And there better be a bunch of time left because we are going to really go hog wild on this thing here in a second. We are going to unleash the hounds.
While you wait out your time, is that a cool light that you're using, and how do you choose what color light to use?
It is a white light. That's where I start everything, usually with a white light, just a white LED. Bingo. Ooh, maybe a little too much light. Maybe a little too much light, I think. Zoom in a little bit. Still very lovely though. I'm at that same white balance, 10,000 Kelvin, but it kind of holds it. Instead of being blue, if I had it like on daylight blue, I go to the 10,000 so that it makes a white, looks pretty white, maybe a little bit of warmth. Okay, let's move on here. So here's this guy. Yes, we've made it, no problem. But I'm going to change it already because we want to move on. So here's this guy. He's gone. A little shaft of light, same one, white LED, the white LED. There it is. Now let's dim that a little bit, Julio, and see what this looks like. So now it's basically just like a shaft of light that cuts, kind of slices through our dandelion. We realized that we needed some from the top and maybe even around the sides a little bit. And then we also needed one from underneath. Look at that change there. I don't know. Do they see that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Look at that. That is so cool. Look at those those little they almost look like firework things. All right. Still white light. Everything else stays the same. Here we go. Let's see what this looks like. 5-second self timer. 1, 2, around the side, step around, go from underneath. That's still an angle of light. Ooh, look at that thing. Sound effects I give you for free. All right, we should have time left, which would be good because we're going to do some things with color here in a second. We are cooking with gas. Show me the money. Come on now. Eternity, please. I must see the picture. Ooh, that's different. There's that with a big broadcast of light. Now here's the little shaft of light. Look at the difference. Let's get a little closer to it. That is pretty cool looking. That is really cool looking. All right. I'm coming in pretty much from the top and from underneath the bottom. So those slices, if I can put it this way, those slices look circular. That's why it looks circular. But if I cut the angle harder from here over down to here and slice through there, it's going to make that sort of spherical. It's going to tilt it slightly, and it's going to look almost more like a oval. So let's see what that looks like. If I got something in my mind, I am pre-visualizing in my mind. Kill the lights. There's that guy right there. 5-second self timer again, just so I can think about what I'm going to do. 1, 2, 3, 4. Move underneath. Cut a little angle on it. 1, 2. And then wait it out. While you're waiting, I just think in my mind, I just churn around. What else can I do? What color might look good? Do I want to go a different angle? Do I want to, in other words, I'm always thinking about what I can do to improve the picture, to make it more creative. It's starting to look a little more like an oval now. And it's floating in space. See how it's just floating in space? So I think we need to include the stem. And I have prepared, I can grab it, another one. It's the same as this, except it's green, right? It's green, got green tape on it. So it has a green LED light in there. And I've also, instead of having the entire slice, that's sort of like this long, thin horizontal shaft of light, this one I put a little more tape over the front. So it's just a tiny little spot, and I can light up the edges of the stem, and I may actually even catch a little bit of the bottom part there with a little bit of green. Let's see what happens here. So I'll do angle, slice, down below angle, slice, and then I will do a little bit on the stem, and then I'll turn it off, walk around to the other side, and do a little bit of the stem over here. And let's see what that does. That way it won't be floating in space. Sometimes things look cool and they're just sort of on a black background floating in space. But I think in this case, we need the stem. All right, here we go. We are cooking with gas here. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I love the way that changes. It's psychedelic. Okay, here we go. A little green, right up the side. Turn it off, walk around, and a little over on this side. Got to have sound effects. If you don't have sound effects, they just don't look as good. The sound effects makes all the difference in the world. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. That is cool. That is cool. I even like the bottom of it getting that little bit of green. Look at the shadow on that, on the, there's like a diagonal shaft shadow on the stem. That is so cool. All righty. Okay. All right. What else can we do? I want to make sure I don't drop this. All right, here we go. All right, I prepared this guy earlier, and I almost dropped it earlier when we were practicing a little bit, but I have a blue light now. Is it on? See it? It's blue. There we go. And this is actually just another lens, you know, I just tape the pen light to it. I've got like little things there to kind of get it into the right position. Ah, no, my beautiful creation, it's ruined. Not yet, but I just need to kind of get it like that. Let's get that. Moving fast.
I know you can't see all the comments on here, so I'll just tell you people are blown away.
And are they good? Are they laughing at the jokes too? I hope so. All right. All right, how are we doing here? So there goes that. Of course, I ruined it by bumping it. So the AF is still locked in place. Can you believe it? That's so great. So there's our blue back there. And I think I need to move it. This is really one of the advantages of mirrorless, because you sort of have the electronic viewfinder. I love the electronic viewfinder. I see what's going on. We'll dim it. That's good. And I can see the blue back there, and I want to make it perfectly centered. I want you to know that I tried doing this the other day just to see if this whole thing would work. And right there. So that the blue is like sprouting up, kind of centered behind there. And I couldn't do it. And I thought, well, why don't I just, you know, tape it to something and then you put it up on something and then aim it and just leave it turned on the whole time. Why not, right? I was trying to like paint, and then come back here with a blue light and hit it with a blue light, and it's like off-centered. Then I did like 25 of these things. It's like, you know, really? Yes, because I want a good picture. Okay, so let's turn out the lights. So in a way, it's not a background, but I can see the blue. I'm just going to take a picture of it and no light painting. I want to see what does the blue light look like. Now I can't move it and change it during the exposure time. It's just going to be there turned on the whole time. So let's just see what it looks like. It's same company, Streamlight. It's a stylus pen light by Streamlight. It's a blue LED. Oh, I forgot. I have my exposure set for the ring light being turned on. I forgot to put it on 30 seconds. Sorry about that. Okay, here we go. There it is. Ooh, it actually looks better because see a little bit of the blue is like illuminating the interior of the dandelion or sunflower, whatever it is. Well, if you think the 30 seconds seemed like eternity on the other pictures we've made, will you sit around and wait for this in the dark? Your husband or wife will be yelling down into the basement, you know, George, what are you doing down there? You know, I'm making beautiful pictures, honey. You know, so right now we're just waiting it out. Dun, 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 dun. Who liked Aaron Rodgers on Jeopardy? Me. I'm formerly from Green Bay. And there it is. This is going to look good. This is going to look good. All right. Kill the lights. You know what's coming now. Angles of light. Little green stem. Blue over the top. 5-second self timer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10. Green. And little green. Bingo. Time left. That means I can do something else. Wow. That is cool. That is so cool looking. I want to remind everybody, this is just a weed. But that is one heck of a cool looking weed, is it not? Of course it is. That is so neat. That is so neat.
I agree.
Now, in your mind out there, you're probably thinking to yourself, wow, what would I do? What would you, right? All right, here we go again. I like what's going on. I'm going to add a little red. I don't know where, probably just anywhere. I got about 3 seconds left just to put a little red in there. Let's see what happens. All right. Down go the lights. There we go. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You'll find you get faster as you do more of them. Red, red, red. Who knows? Be cool. Oh, not much. Ooh, I thought there'd be a little more red. Red usually shows up. Now I've got this one snooted and is there any difference? Huh. Not much different. Look at me think. I'm like thinking like I will not be outdone because there wasn't enough red. What? But I've got another, let's see. I'm thinking. All right, let's try a little yellow, see what happens. Okay. Ready? One, two. I'm going to cut more on an angle here. A lot more. Whoa. That was a while. Green. Green. Left. Are you kidding me? Boy, just a tiny change. It added a little bit of yellow on the outside. A little warmth. See that? It's different. Love the stem. Very cool. I hope this one makes sense. We have one more to go. One more to go. Here goes the big switcheroo, guys. Get ready. Out comes all this. Any questions on the little dandelion or anything else so far?
People are just talking a lot about the possibilities are endless, and that someone asked about doing portraits or things outdoors.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so doing portraits or other things.
Goes. Oh, comes this. If I do this. Oh, we lost our flag.
Dave, while you're putting that up,
Yep.
can you,
I'm sorry, what was the question?
the possibilities are endless here, but can you talk about, doing this with portraits or outdoors? What else do you do with light painting?
Well, as long as a subject can hold still, like a ballerina, a musician, entertainer, an athlete, if you can get them to pose and hold still, then you can do this. The same things all apply. All the same stuff applies. just go through the step-by-step as I'm sure you start out with a white light. So you can actually use the pen lights. You'll probably be at a little higher ISO, like around maybe 1,000 ISO, or be at f5.6. But your painting itself actually comes very similar to what we're doing here. Like with the white light, start with your white light, but essentially you're about this far away from the dandelion and everything. Same thing. You're about this far away, and you just do like 1 or 2 seconds on the face, down the arm, chest, down the arm, and then the background is usually done with the larger light, because you're farther away. You want it to broadcast more, and you want it to be bright. So, all right, let me set up this. Let's see if we can just raise this up. This is our final subject. Julio, help me out. Let's see, what do I need to do? Back it off a little here. And tell me when it's centered.
There.
Good.
More, a little bit more. There.
Okay. Centered. There's our baseball bat, old American flag. It's a very old American flag.
What's the pink band on your lens for?
Ah, thank you. Now, it's great if you have a macro lens, macro lenses are great. I'm going to try this. This is actually a close-up filter. Is this the microphone we're using up here?
Yeah.
Okay, don't tell anybody. It's made by Canon. Okay.
What about the blue band?
It's made by Canon. This is the close-up filter made by Canon. But I like it. They're very, very sharp. I got that on there. And I'm actually, this turns this into my 24 to 70 Z lens. It turns it actually into a macro lens now. I'm very, very close. This blue band right here, that allows me to, in the dark, I can actually see or feel where the zoom is if I wanted to actually light paint and then zoom out or something like that. This is just one of those sort of bands like you get at a swimming pool, like when you're staying at like Holiday Inn. In order to get into the swimming pool, you have to have that band on your arm that says Holiday Inn. That's all. That's what it is. Works out great. Now let's see. Back it off a little bit. This close-up filter will also make the background. Look at how nice and soft that is back there. And that's actually at f11. I think I'm going to go to f11, but I'll leave it out here so I can do that. Erase it a little bit. And now, oh, I should have made that. Where's my tape? There it is. Gaffer tape. Got to have gaffer tape, right?
How do you keep track of all your pen lights, and is your belt with the pouches a special thing?
The belt with the pouches. Yes, this is a common.
Where do you get them?
You don't get them anymore. This is actually, Haley and I used to do trap and skeet shooting. We still do. We still go trap and skeet shooting. And this is like where your shells are stored, right? So I got it at like Sierra Trading Post. Like I've had 2 of them, and I got them like 30 years ago. I'm on my second belt. I wore the other one out. But Think Tank makes great little belts with pouches and things like that. I've seen people, and they're not available. They're made by, this was made by Breakpoint, but they're not available anymore. I've never been able to find one since. But Think Tank makes, different belts. I've seen a variety of people. There's a belt that like umpires use, to put the baseballs in, that sort of thing. I'm actually just setting up a little bit of tape here. See how that works. It's centered, pretty much. All right. Here's our baseball. Sorry, this is taking longer to set up. Any other questions More questions?
What would happen if you point the pen lights back at the camera?
Say again?
What would happen if you point the pen light back towards the camera while you're?
Well, you actually kind of saw it in that last picture we did. We were pointing the pen light right back at the camera, and it it's very bright. It just makes like a pinpoint kind of. Let's see here. Give me 1 second to think. See if I can do this. I'm sure this is going to work here. I don't want to lose the ball off the top here. I'm going to need to go up a little higher here. I just don't want to pull. We have a lot of cords hooked up to the camera here so that we can do this thing live for everybody. And it's already pulling a little bit on it. Pulling on it. There we go. There we go. You notice this is an autograph baseball. There. Man, I nailed focus again. I nailed the focus. Didn't even have to do it. That's so great. Okay, let's see. Let's dial it down to 30 seconds again. 30 seconds. ISO 500, 30 seconds. And I'm going to go to F11. Now, that. And that. All right, let's just see what happens. Am I still on 5 second self timer? I am. Let's turn out the light.
30-second shutter.
I'm at 30 seconds. I am. I've got blue. I'm just sort of seeing what I got going here.
What signature is on that ball?
We'll find out in a second. All right. 5 second self timer. Wait it out, see what happens. Is there a picture? Oh, blasted out the signature. But I like the blue and I like the flag, or at least part of the flag. Let's try it again. Blue. To just blast it out. I used the pen light that had the sandwiched cardboard over it. It was also yellow. It had the full CTO. Let's try this instead. Okay. Blue from underneath. Blue from underneath. A little bit more in the background, I think. Sort of swirl it around. Kind of concentrate the glow, maybe, hopefully right behind the ball. Plenty of time left, no doubt about that. Come on. That is so cool. That is so cool. Give me one more hit. We need a little bit of blue on the top, I think would be nice. And we don't see the signature. Let's do it again. Let's do it again. Everyone's going, whose signature is it? Oh no. I grabbed the wrong pen light. Let's see what happens. We'll go the opposite here. Here's yellow. We're going the opposite. I grabbed the wrong pen light. I can't believe I did that. I got too excited. Across the top, maybe. That was too funny. Too funny. Sorry about that. I grabbed the blue instead of the white. We don't like it. Okay, let's go. What, it's like, does anyone really want to look at a picture? It's like, yeah, that didn't work out so good. Here we go again.
Don't block camera 3.
What's that?
Don't block camera 3.
Don't block camera 3. Okay. Here we go. I don't know if I cannot do it though. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Blue from underneath. Blue across the top. Blue from underneath. Across the top. And yellow. Come on. Come on. This is going to be our last one. Better be our last one. Boom. Ladies and gentlemen, let's take a look at the details here. Well, what do you know? Mickey Mantle. This is my older brother's autographed baseball by Mickey Mantle. To Ward Black, best wishes from Mickey Mantle.
Wow, here. No way.
I get a little chill up my back. I tell you, to have, and I just put gaffer's tape on a Mickey Mantle autographed baseball. So I'm going to take it off right now. I hope that makes sense, but you can see what we did. In other words, we applied a lot of the things that we did earlier. We put a little blue, kind of skirted over there. We got a little yellow in the background, kind of golden up that American flag. I think ultimately I'd like to do this one vertically, but to do it vertically, it's going to come out sideways on Zoom on the picture. You'd be looking at it this way. So had to go kind of to the format here. I'm going to take this off right now because I don't want it to get all gummy. Oh, it did get a little gummy. Anyway, okay. Hope my brother doesn't mind. Well, I hope that's been helpful to everybody. I hope it makes sense what we've been doing. I don't know what time or how long did it take us to do this?
An hour and 10 minutes.
That's not too bad. We had about a 5-minute introduction.
It's just you.
Oh, they're just me. Oh.
Yeah.
I was like, way to go, Dave. It's like, no. Okay. Hopefully that's not too long and we didn't lose anybody yet. This is my Jackie Robinson baseball bat, by the way. Are there any other questions? Can I answer more questions?
We just have a couple
Yep.
came through asking if you were going to do light painting outdoors, could you just give like the brief settings and what light you would use for like an outdoor landscape?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Give me 1 second and I'll be right back. Talk amongst yourselves. Talk amongst yourselves. Whoa, there's a saddle. Look at that saddle here. All right, what do we got here? So outdoors, and I think very popular these days. First of all, I'll show you what I use outdoors. There's a couple of flood lamps. I actually use, this is a Brinkmann. If you Google 2 million candle powered spotlight, then it will show up. All these, about 20 of them will show up and you just kind of choose. But I think the Brinkmanns, I like the Brinkmann a lot. It has a warm bulb. It has a good reflector behind there. And you basically are painting the landscape. That is how I've been doing it for over 20 years and done a lot of work for the Geographic. I've done work for different calendar companies and so forth, doing landscapes and so forth. The Milky Way, let me do a general star field exposure. So the Milky Way, right, to shoot the Milky Way, or just stars, the Big Dipper. A lot of people leave the Big Dipper out, but it looks great. It's ISO 3000, 4000, 3,000 or 4,000, depends on how many stars you want. 20 seconds at f4. That's a very common exposure. Now that's an exposure that I use basically out west. It's a dry climate, clear skies. A lot of the national parks out here are high elevation. So you get great star fields, great Milky Ways and so forth. That's usually where they're made. It's a little different down in Florida or Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee. You know, these are humid climates, right? So, but basically you make that exposure, I'll just say, you know, 3000 ISO. 20 seconds, that holds the stars, right? 20 seconds, 15 seconds, 20 seconds. If you go to 30 seconds, you'll see the stars look kind of streaky. They kind of get a little bit of a streak in there. So 15, 20 seconds. And F4, that gives you a little bit of depth of field on whatever the barn maybe that you're light painting. And then it's the same thing. Your camera is here, your subject, the barn is out there, you know, maybe 80 feet away. And then you are going to make your like 90-degree angle and get off camera. And that's where the self-timer 20 seconds. And you just count down, just like 19, 18, 17, 16, kind of just walk on over so that you're off camera. And then you're going to apply an angle of light, just like we've done here, angles of light on the barn. And you keep the light moving so that it doesn't concentrate and make a big hot spot on the barn or something. Just like I'm moving the lamp around and the flashlights around, same thing. That's how a lot of my outdoors ones are done. It's nice that I usually start right around twilight. Don't worry about the stars, but start at twilight. There you'll need, it's a little more ambient light outside. So you may, you know, use 2 of them, paint, 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 paint. If I have a really big job, big, really far away from the subject, I actually use something called an RL85. Right, RL85. That is a made by Larson Electronics. It is 5 million candles. It is really bright, really bright. But I use those if it's like a big project. So that's sort of how those are made. That's a really good question. Maybe we can do something with Samys and SanDisk and Nikon. Maybe where we go out live and I'll do a, you know, like the same thing we're doing here, but we'll go outdoors and we'll just do one and make some outside. Another, hope that answers that. Hope that answers that. Another question?
I think we're going to turn it back to Pete here.
We're going back to Pete. Take it back to Pete. Get the lariat. Go, Pete.
All right, Dave, thank you so much. This is by far the best attended event we've ever done, and you have been such a fantastic presenter. I wish, go over and take a peek at the comments and the chat before we close this window, because you can see all of the amazing things people have said about you and about this presentation and how it's been their favorite, it's been their best. They love your energy, they love your passion. You guys